Yo, what is up, guys? Today we have a very special guest, a man that needs no introductions himself. Do you want to give an introduction, or do people
I've
just already know?
got no introduction can. This is sponsored by Pellegrino and Zinn. So
100%, bro. Mr. Ryan Clogg here, the info guy, the info king.
no info king. Yeah, quick background. I will give just a slight one. Yeah, we have a info coaching business, and then about 4 months ago, decided to start sharing it and sharing kind of the process, the operations, the marketing funnels, just raw tactical info. So just started sharing all that, nothing to sell, and share that all over YouTube, X, and yeah, it's kind of the gist. So we've done some size numbers. There are guys that are much, much, much bigger that I look up to, and there are guys that are building up right now that I like. So all across the board.
Cool, cool, cool. What made you start with the daily videos? Because that's actually how I got connected to you in terms
Yeah,
of,
that's how I saw your stuff today. Is when you've been liking things on X, and I was telling you right before this, but I want to say that on here as well. Like I've been
Mhm.
seeing your consistency in how you message and like stuff, and so I already recognized your profile picture when you sent the message today, and I clicked onto your profile, and I saw that you were like 54 days or something into making daily videos. So I watched a couple of them. Obviously, recognized the structure a little bit, but like I loved it. Right, like they were thoughtful. They were so some of them had X amount of views. Some of them had like low amounts, and I was like, why don't we just pop on yours because I think it'd be fun. But why I did all the daily videos was mainly for, I say in the beginning of all mine, but obviously it's talent. We want access to the best talent, which really just comes from being known and people wanting to join the mission on what we're trying to do. So being able to find and just be front of mind a little bit, or front of screen more so, to where people know us or see us for talent opportunities. This one's a little, I don't necessarily know how I feel about that one. I've gotten a lot of opportunity flow, like deal flow, and people wanting XYZ consulting or take part of my company and all this stuff, and I have not taken any of it. So that one I kind of haven't moved on. And then the other one is just network, which I honestly could just say is like friends. I just wanted people that I could like hang out with and talk about this stuff. I have close friends, I have close family, I have like all this stuff, but all I want to talk about is what I work on and what I do all day, and they don't want to hear about all that. So it's fun, and I've never really had the network of people in the space and like been able to bounce ideas and like learn things from people and hopefully help other people with some stuff. So this was my outlet of that. It was crazy. I almost feel like I like knew a lot of these people that I started to talk to because I've watched their videos for 5 years, 10 years. Like I just sat here, I have two monitors set up, and I just watch and consume nonstop like all these videos all the time, and I never knew them, and I never talked to them. I never even chatted them, like nothing. So then once I built this up, that was kind of the goal, and that's essentially partially what I reached already. So I'm pretty closely connected, either one layer or direct, from a lot of these cool people that are in our world of online marketing.
Cool. And would you say like relationships first has been the approach that you've taken into, just networking with people or just business
Yeah, I know,
first?
100%, 100%. I try and dance the line of like it's very difficult to like provide value, but also not like I feel like almost like feel like I'm ego sharing or like ignorant in that way. So I
Mhm.
really try not to, but it's very difficult to share things for 120 days without just spewing shit. So at some level, like I was doing that. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that created a bit of a moat, a very small moat, right? It's only 3 or 4 months, but like it created a moat of people that just saw that I really was leading with value first and connection first. And I'm really not selling anything. And I really haven't sold anyone anything. Like ask anybody. I've said no to anybody who's DM me. I do help with a bunch, like how the initial thing on X started,
Mhm.
because I bought Iman's course, which was 8FL at the time, and is now consulting.com, or it's quantum within consulting.com. And it's all about how to like do, it's really about how to build, like, I think the new headline is a disgustingly profitable info business or whatever. But at the time, it was really around personal branding. And I had done nothing around personal branding. So when I got into it or moved in that direction, it is all about how to like do the Iman edit style and how to shoot things and how to pick your niche and do all this stuff in like a really deep, valuable way. Same thing with clipping, same thing with organic growth for info businesses. Like there's whales in there that do high hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit a month, all using like that methodology. I got in there and then instantly was like, wait, I don't want to like edit like that or cut like that or prepare like that. But I do need to start putting stuff out there because I value what they have access to in terms of talent. Like he posts something for a copywriter and they get thousands of applications, and like quality too, right? And they post things for this and this. So I was like, I want that. So I'm going to do a little bit of my own version, but then tap into the resources in that group in order to learn it. And so that's what I did. So I met people in that group. That was my first like friends kind of in that world, was inside the community for that. Inside Quantum now is what it's called. So like I'm in that WhatsApp group, and then it started to branch very quickly. But Iman, right in the beginning, you got an onboarding call in the beginning, and he was like, just get 3 to 5K on X and YouTube, and you'll have a honeypot where you can make another couple $1 million a year on side deals and whatever. And
Mhm.
I basically just posted every day, and then kids were DMing me, and I say kids because they literally are, whatever, 5 to 10 years younger than me, and I was just helping this kid out in Instagram chat, or like not even helping him out, just like having conversation back and forth, and like, no, no, I won't do consulting. No, I'm not gonna take money. Just like, what questions do you have? And he posted one of my videos on X, and like overnight, it went from 0 to 3,000 or whatever on YouTube and on X. And then that started the journey of like what you're saying, like relationship first. Now it's just asking people questions and like providing value where I can and interviewing cool people and trying to get cool nuggets out of them to share with everybody, and like no cost, no barrier, like just put it out there. And just kind of like lead value and relationship first.
100%. And I'm sure like your like inflow in terms of like people coming to work with you. How do you filter out, like people that, are aligned with what it is that you're aligned with basically?
Yeah, I've gotten some well, like twofold, right? I have like the even like friendly level or
Hmm.
like acquaintance, and then I have like people I'd like work with or that like want like deal flow and stuff, I guess, if I could bucket them. The
Hmm.
deal flow side of things, I have not taken a thing. I'm not taking anything.
Hmm.
So I've said no to everything. I've asked people to like refine the questions down to like core questions that I can answer. Some people send me novels, and I'm like, I would get around, or if like I'm on a plane and I get one, I'll like answer crazy in depth, but it's like it's not managed well. But if someone asks me like concise questions, I can very easily like, oh, I'm at the gym, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to answer that. I do that. Or if they send me a doc with a loom and it's 4 in the morning and I'm here and I get one and I just like see it, I'll watch it for 15 minutes and I'll answer. But like I have not done a good job of like product like systematizing how they come in and then systematizing how I answer. That's where the Q&As came from, because I
Oh
tried
wow.
to do a version of that of like make a form that people could submit. It's literally one field, and then I can answer them free form in batch. And I was like, that's how I can do that. The other side of like just people in general, um, I try and do. I had a couple people on. I've had two videos that have been taken down,
Hmm.
that were taken down from the Matrix, that were more so like things they shared on the episode then got clawed back from investors or large platforms or whatever, that was like giving away too much secret sauce of something, or not even secret sauce, but like confidential information basically. So I ended up having to take two of them down so far, two or three actually, taken down. And then I've had two or three where people have shit on me in the comments and been like, oh, this person's a fraud or they're this and this, which like, in all fairness, like our industry, info coaching, whatever, online marketing has a lot of like, fraudster is a bad word, but like there are people who full on fraud. I haven't talked to any of them directly, but then there are people who don't have happy customers or don't have great client success or whatever, or had that part of their life and then went on and built like a more real business. And I, at some level, don't know how to navigate that, because like that's not, at some level, it's like not my problem. Like it's not, I don't, I like try and vet as best I can to not like, people are like, oh, you're platforming them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making videos sitting here on my computer. I don't edit shit. I literally record it like this. I click download, I click upload, and it's done. It's a conversation I wanted to have. And like I did one a couple days ago, and it's getting flack in the comments. And it's like, at some level, it's like you're listening to the wrong thing. It's like I understand at some level if you don't value, if you don't respect the person, or you think that they this or this, or you tried to buy something, you didn't get the proper fulfillment that you thought in dream state, or they didn't make you whatever. And at some level, I'm just like very like extreme ownership, personal responsibility. There are other people who bought that thing and got crazy success. So like, whose fault is it? Right? Like there's a bit of me that does that. That's kind of like, but I'm not polarizing at all on the internet. I have no, I don't care. I don't want to, I don't have any fight with anybody. I don't need any fight. Like it's all good. Um, but like the one from a couple days ago, there is gold like buried in there if you know what you're listening for, or depending on where you're at in your age and stage. But I've tried to do a better job just out of like respect for other people that have come on too, is another big thing. Because now it's like, well, if I have this guy and then I have this guy, it's like they are not apples to apples depending how you look at it. So I try and have people like, I'll be like, can you send me like, I was like, I feel bad saying this, but can you send me like your list of like accomplishments basically? And I'll vet some people a little bit. And then sometimes, 50 people ask for somebody on, and I don't know who these people are. I don't know who anybody is really. Like I try and like keep up to date, but like this isn't my main gig. It's not my main life. It's not my business. Like it's just fun. So I will hear someone's name 30 times, talk to a couple of people. They say they crush it in XYZ way. I'll get them on, and like sometimes they're amazing. Sometimes people don't like them, and like that's okay.
That is okay. But what has been the hardest thing in terms of getting people on for you? Has there been any challenge or not?
No, biggest challenge has been managing. Like I don't have calendar links. I don't have an EA. I don't have a personal assistant. I don't have any of that. Like I need a personal assistant, but I'm gonna move and I want one that's in person. So like I've been waiting for that, which is like kind of silly, but also like just real. So like I haven't brought anybody on to do anything for this part of my life or business. Whichever you call, like, I don't even know what you call this, like my personal passion project thing that I was doing. But I did all of it. So I scheduled them, I found the spots, I created the Riverside, I did this, I download them, I upload them, I create the titles for them, I create the description. Like I still do all of that. And then some
Mhm.
kid that like found me early in Iman's group randomly makes some thumbnails for me, and then like we'll randomly change them in the titles, and half the time I have to change them back because they're like scammy or whatever, and I don't like that. So like the hardest part has been like navigating the calendar, navigating the communication. I have tons of inflow and probably really qualified people. I've like sniper reached out to a couple people that like if I had somebody who was fully managing this, like I have some people right now in the pipe that I like talk to or kind of knew or like now know that would be great. And one, it's like again, it's like I would like to have them on, but I also like don't care. Like I don't care if they don't want to, or I don't care, and I also don't want to come off like, oh, I only want to talk to you because of the pod. Like it seems very transactional, and like I don't give a shit if I get like 50,000 views on one of these, and like oh now I get more followers or what. Like it doesn't matter to me. So I kind of dance that line on like I don't want to seem like that kind of person necessarily, like to this what person I've consumed their content for 10 years. I think they're cool. It'd be great to jam, but like it's also like if you don't want to jam, that's fine. If you don't want to go do a podcast, that's also fine. Like I don't care. Like I'm just like so it's been difficult to navigate the conversations and then also then all the logistics of like actually planning it. People who cancel. When I was doing the dailies, that was the worst. When people
I
would
can.
cancel and it was at like 5 p.m. and then I'm like, oh, I
Mhm.
have to come up with something to talk about. I didn't love towards the tail end, like the last 30, I kind of felt like I was like spewing a little and I was doing a ton of volume versus like the first 60, I was like up at 5 a.m., like building the board, doing this, and I like fell out of cadence. So it's difficult to do for me and to manage the rest of everything that's going on, like main co and then private stuff and like whatever. Like I have things that I work on that I also don't talk about. Like, um, so yeah, that was kind of the biggest pain for me thus far, which could have been solved with a personal assistant. I'm very aware, or like an EA, even a remote one would have been fine. But like, I just didn't do that. So
Are you are you planning on doing that soon?
mhm. I just need to
Do it.
move because I want one that comes in. I want an in-person one that can do the. Like I talked to Ravi about it, and he's like, "Oh, you definitely need." Like I've talked to a lot of people about it that are like, "It's ridiculous that you don't have one." I've done a really good job in the business of having them, or like I did a bad job for a long time, and then I did an okay job, and did a bad job again, and now I think I'm in like a pretty good position. Like I have a project manager that does like my main pieces are like the overall ops of the entire thing and like strategy set, but I was still clicking and like managing project boards and like trying to keep everyone there. And then a lot of the marketing tech. I built all the marketing tech forever up until a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. And I hired someone in there that was a huge lifesaver. But then I was over here like, how do I get more team efficiency and bandwidth and all that, which is through these project management tools and like systems and that. And I was like operating that, and I'm not the best at that. I'm like okay at it and tactical with myself, but across team I wasn't. So I hired a project manager, which like again is like it's like reducing things from my plate. So I have so much that I need to develop and learn and skill of delegation, especially in this. I've never done it in the personal life ever, or like what you I guess you could consider this personal life because it's outside of the main co. So yeah, I've never done it, but I definitely need to do it.
Interesting, interesting. And how many hours do you work per day, if I may ask? Because like I see you like your time, and it's like 2 p.m. my time, and it's like what 3, 4 a.m. your time, and it's like,
Yeah, it
bro.
depends. Yeah, it dep I did like really good for a really long time. Like I thrive in the mornings because no one because it's like I'm in like my own like deep flow. Like a lot of people do that really good late at night. I do not anymore. I used to back like way back in the day. Mine's in the morning. So if I can go, if I wake up and it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, like I'll just stay up. Some like most of the time now because I'm just up and it's like if not, then I fall asleep and it's like 7 and then I'm like pissed at the world for the day because I feel like I missed it. But like my dream state and what I was cranking for at least 60 of those days of the 120 in the beginning, and then I fell off 100%. But I was doing 5 a.m. every day up, make the board, do the thing, like try and shoot them in the morning. Or if I had a podcast, I would do those. I usually do those later in the afternoon so I can do like deep work time ish. You could even, I don't even know if you call it deep work because I'm not usually working on a specific project. I'm like deep diving into things. So I'm looking across dashboards. I'm finding things in the data. I'm like going through the CRM. I'm pulling up different funnel stats. I'm like finding little opportunities or putting together like ideas of, oh, hey, we have this lead flow thing that's on the side that gets XYZ opt-ins, like on the thank you page, why don't we do this? And I'm like building that kind of stuff or like coming up with those ideas at that time. Um, it was no joke though. Like I was actually sitting at this desk like 16 hours a day, which is not good. And like nor was it like productive 16 hours. And I'm the first to say that. Like I'm not some like hustle porn guy that's like, oh, you gotta go like there's a time and a place for seasons where you do that. I just know it was because of my lack of skill and lack of delegation and inability to hire or unwillingness to hire for it. And like I could have had for $1,000 a month and $3,000 and whatever, like an editor and a this and a that, and like saved myself hundreds of hours of like, oh cool, I'm editing this video or like exporting and uploading, and then oh wait, I'm over here in this chat and I'm doing this, and then oh I'm doing that. Like I was bouncing like a freaking like crazy. So at that time, it was no joke. It was like 16 hours a day at the computer, like 12, whatever, call it 12 to 16 hours, depending. I always go to the gym. Like that's a non-negotiable. That's why I was late for this because I went to the gym before this and I was 5 minutes late because there was traffic. I'm usually not late. I apologize. But yeah, that was kind of like it was an interesting era. Right now though, it's like zoomed a lot out, and in current state, there is a lot of ideas, and now it's like waiting on the execution through team, which is kind of something I'm not super used to and haven't been like we've really been like fingers on the keyboards for a long time and like actually building it like oh here's the idea and okay in 2 days we have it launched because we just go and build it, and now we're like doing that through team, which is like a skill set I haven't fully developed, or like the patience or the delegation to still get it done in 2 days across team. Like it's almost like there's more people, but it's like more corporate, so it's slower, but it's more skilled. I don't know. It's like this weird thing I'm navigating where it's obviously the next step in the direction. So now with this project manager, hopefully that'll come through. But yeah, it's interesting. So now it's way less. Now it'll be like 1 p.m. and I don't have anything anymore, and I'm like, what do I do? And I don't like that idea. I like the idea of like buy back. You know, the Dan Martell book somewhere on here is the buy back your time, and the whole idea is like,
You mean this
yeah,
one?
exactly, yeah, somewhere on here. Um, or you know where it is? It's in my backpack because I
Oh,
fly with it. That's where it is.
oh.
And yeah, so now it's like buy back your time, but the whole idea of buying back your time is like that you replace it with something that's either higher leverage directly or that is like more personal life, whatever wise. And I don't really do that. So like I need to figure that out because now I bought back time and I'm like, what do I do? Like I don't really have any other hobbies. I don't really want to go do XYZ, and I'm not doing anything that's more needle moving directly yet. So I'm trying to solve for that now.
Okay, okay. And would you say that's like a builder's trade? Because sometimes I also have that like letting go and like learning how to, delegate as well. I mean, for you, like I see you and I see like a hardcore builder. Would you consider yourself that, or
Yeah,
is it
100%.
me?
Yeah, I was talking to my girlfriend last night on the couch, and I was like, I think I'm gonna build like XYZ. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, like I think I'm gonna start spending like 8 hours a day doing like this. And she was like, why? And I was like, because I just think that like it would be valuable into this, like to develop that skill set and do this. But like right now, if I was to focus on main code, I'd be like, what are the things that I could be better at? And it's like leadership and delegation and like team stacking and like the overall financials and like comps and motivations and like all these things. Like, how can I better run an effectively managed team? And then also connect out with that vision of like, I know what the next step is. But now, how do I drag that here? How do I plan that in the right way and then get the right team to do it? Do we build a new team to do it? Like, I'm trying to think in that way. But even when you think in that way, and then put the plan in place. If you're not clicking the keys, is what I always say. Like if I'm not in it actually building it, then there's still a lot of free time. And it's a lot of like you said, like patience. And I currently do not have a very good I'm not good at like sitting still. I'm not good at like music's on all the time. I'm this and this and this. Like I'm a little manic in that way where I'm like constantly bouncing. Like not that morning time is my true like good focused like output. And then beyond that, it's like I'm in this Slack thing or I'm helping with this or I'm over here or I'm butting my nose in this when I shouldn't be, or like someone else will handle it in 10 minutes. I can handle it in 1 minute. Like I still navigate and need to be better at that. There's so much I need to learn about that kind of stuff. Like I know how to build. I do know how to build, but like I'm not great at my one of my dad's mentors, one of these guys I used to talk to all the time, would always be like, it's one thing to like manage a team. It's another thing to manage a manager. But to
Hmm.
manage a manager who has managers, like so you're like a C level who has a manager and then they have people is like a whole new ball game of like tiers.
Hmm.
So I don't necessarily directly have that skill set yet because I've never like been in that role or world or our team wasn't that big or whatever. So yeah, navigating that now.
And like to figure out how to navigate, like, are you planning through it, like reading books or just speaking to different people? Like, do you have a framework or a strategy for that?
Yeah, like I'm trying to be in proximity to more people. What I've kind of quickly found is I can learn a lot of cool tactical stuff from a lot of people in our world and our space.
Hmm.
I haven't done a great job thus far of connecting with people that are maybe like really good at that side of things, for example, because a lot of these guys are leaner. A lot of these guys are like call it at our range or are leaner or are but like do crazy numbers in profit or do this cool thing with this webinar or this thank you page and like I learned tactics like that and when you implement it somewhere that does millions a month or whatever, and you get a 2 or a 5 or a 10% lift, like that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's like extremely impactful to learn these things, the tactical stuff. The higher kind of level, I think I said it on a tweet or something the other day, or that was this morning, but I was like, I've talked to like 3 to 5 people on there. Robbie's a good example. Cole is a good example, and a couple others that I've talked to offline that come off as a much more thoughtful, calm, strategic like direction. They have smaller and leaner teams than we do. So like people management maybe like at scale they don't have the direct experience in that way but like how they go about and how they run their business is extremely admirable and like how they go about and live their personal lives in connection to their work I like a lot. We just talked about Dan Martell. Like if I'm to look at someone like oh who runs very large businesses with large headcount large revenue large whatever and also has a very strong personal life, like I don't have a lot of people in my personal world that I know that have that directly like that I know. Of course, there's literally millions of people that do it. I just don't like I don't have proximity to those people. So that is stuff I'm seeking out. So like Dan Martell pops into my head. I only see him like digitally. Tried to connect with him. He's busy building right now. So like that's that. Um, but like I want to get in proximity to those kind of people. I'm talking about moving again, so I'll be somewhere that online business is like info coaching is like this
Hmm.
of the online business world because then you got ecom and SaaS and lead gen and agency and like all this stuff and info coaching's right here. Online
Hmm.
business, then you have like world business, right? And like you, so I
Hmm.
want to start being able to connect with other people who there's literally millions, tens of millions of businesses that have hundreds of employees. I don't know how many, I don't know how many qualify for that number, but there's a
Hmm.
lot, and there's a lot of really, really strong entrepreneurs. I've looked at other groups to join. So like, I don't know if you listen to My First Million, but Sam Parr has Hampton. That's like a grouping of entrepreneurs that run online businesses generally, or like startups. My dad's in Vistage and has always brought me around there. That's an example of another one. Entrepreneurs organization, like those are about how you as a person and you and your business like evolve and grow and you network with people doing that. So like that might be an interesting thing for me to be around in proximity to other business owners that aren't just info coaching. Because info coaching kind of like there's a handful of people I right now know that do more than we do. And like they rock. Like they're cool, but they're also like building. So we do get tactical and like enterprise or like larger scale thoughts from those kind of people, but I'm not super in proximity to them, right? So I'm not like I can only learn from small gaps in conversations with them. So I can up level that crew of people who are in info coaching who are above us or who have thoughtful ideas. You don't even have to be above. When I say like above and below, like I'm thinking like head counts and revenue numbers because it's kind of like variable, but there are people I learn from that have 15 people or 40 people on their team, even if we have more. Like I learn a lot. Like another, I'm not like shilling Iman here by any means, but like I learned some interesting things from their team when we went to the London event on how they operate things. We changed some of our meeting structure from there. Cool. Talked to Jeremy about how they were talking about things around culture, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. We can implement that. So it's not like you can only learn from someone up here, but at
Hmm.
some level, like proof is in the pudding. And like if you have the numbers in team count or revenue or whatever, I am much more likely to believe that your advice works or I can see how you do things. So I can model off of you because you've achieved the thing I want to achieve, not you just talk about the thing you want to achieve that we you could achieve, you know?
100%, 100%. And what is like your goal? Are you planning to like stay in the online space just forever,
Oh yeah.
or are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, my thing right now is we want to just build this to like an undeniable level. We're in info coaching. We
Mhm.
want to continue to be in info coaching, but we also want to like hit exit velocity outside of there and introduce other business lines that are not considered info coaching, but still use direct response and info coaching for acquisition, and then have fulfillment that is, different, maybe even a little bit different on the front end as well. So, like an example of that would be like a physical product or something like that. So, I want to just really grow this like exponentially. I get a lot of opportunities, a lot of shiny objects. Specifically, like there's different like verticals, but I get a lot that are in our space. So I get a ton that come to me that are in info coaching. My only direct interest in info coaching would maybe be something that would be like consulting for equity style, which isn't even equity. I wouldn't even want equity because most 99.99% of info coaching companies will never sell. So why do you want equity? There are some aligned interests, and I talked to that with Ravi. So if you watch that video, he talks about why he likes equity because it, the shared interest and the different pieces and the risk. Also, if someone was to basically, if you had a rev share contract with somebody and you got them up to these big numbers, could they just pull the plug on the contract? And then you got to do like small, you got to do court and all that for what, right? Versus you have equity. It's just like it's a deeper tie, but it comes with risk. So I don't know. Like I would stay in that lane. I've denied everything up till now just because I want to focus on our thing. And my thought is like if we can take our thing 20% further, just 20% further over and over again, like that is much larger numbers than and more different skill achievement and different things than doing some other from ground up build where it would pay me 100 grand or 200 grand a month or whatever. Like it would have to be so sizable for me to like shift my focus a little bit. So I want to say in info coaching for that, I want to run the main thing in info coaching. I want to build it
Mhm.
quite large. I want to expand it beyond info coaching. I want to stay in info coaching from like a consulting level. Right now, I just do it for free, and like I'm happy to do it for free, and because I just don't want to lose focus. But if there was the right monetization model or partnership or whatever, I would do that. I would be interested in that. And then outside of that, I don't know. I try and make sure that the interests stay aligned. I have a video talking about that where like my interests, I make sure that I'm not over here like learning about real estate because then I don't think there's as many applicable pieces of that I can apply to the main code and like take it further. But there's also like simple things around like I've never worried about like capital allocation, like wealth side of things ever because like I've just worried on how can you make the income higher and my income's not like crazy. Like there are guys that have very high incomes that still haven't worried about that and like are doing much better than me. So like there's just so many things I need to learn in that world. And then business model wise, I'm just trying to stay in my lane. I'm trying not to go like, oh, software, or oh, lead gen, or oh, private equity, or oh, whatever, because there's just, again, so much more to be had within this world of where we live and like where I play in the sandbox versus trying to go start from scratch somewhere else when plenty of opportunities still where we sit. Plenty, plenty, plenty. So that's kind of the plan with the biz and like my goal of it or personal side of it.
100%. And do you think like you not taking those opportunities or falling into shiny object syndrome? I remember the video that you went deep into it, the one about stacking. Then you spoke about private equity plays and also was it consulting? Yeah, like you just did now.
Yeah.
Do you think that, like basically saying no to all those opportunities has basically increased what you're doing like right now? Like if you
Yeah,
had
at some
taken.
level. At some
Mhm,
level, like I've left just in the last few like hundreds and hundreds on the table,
mhm,
maybe maybe higher, if you depending on how you look at it. And the business is up and to the right aggressively as well. So like it's not like we didn't grow and I also said no. So like yes, at some level. But back to what I said, like around I can learn a lot of tactical things being inside the marketplace and talking to people as well as working in their businesses or seeing eyes on things or having a conversation about someone on how they do things with webinars and how they launch it like this. So whether I'm just talking to that person or whether I have some consulting style agreement where obviously yes they're looking for my advice on XYZ, but maybe their business model does this or this different or has already done that and I learned that and then can implement that over there and in the current space, like there's definitely a way that I could have more upside and like monetization on those as well as learn. So that's where kind of the direction of that would go is like where can I do some, because I have like different, I think a lot of them are strong marketers. I am an okay marketer, okay, maybe if you could even call it that. Like when it comes to copy, I'm like I'm thankful that ChatGPT came around to get me 80% of the way there because I couldn't even go live with a page before then because like I didn't understand. I would funnel hack and then just replace words or like trying like I didn't know how to do that. So I've been business partners or surrounded by a lot of really strong copywriters and offer owners and stuff. So it's worked because mine is more technical, mine is more numbers, mine is more KPIs, mine is more structure and strategy and the random idea that we can implement. But like, you know, that's about it. Like today I came up, I was like, oh, I have this idea around a marketing angle and launched it into the ops channel and everyone was like, yeah, let's do it. Like I like it. And I was like, oh wow, that's probably the first marketing angle I've come up with in a very long time. Right. So like it's very like flash in the pan, but yeah, I think not taking on things in this current season, I would have exploded. I already almost did. Like if I was doing the daily video, if I was doing that, and if I was doing main co and this other thing, and at some level trying to have a personal life, it even was nuking personal life. Like I wasn't doing anything because I was trying to do all these daily videos and all this stuff as well as that, and I wasn't good at managing the time. So yeah, so I think it did positively benefit. Um, there's also a big thing that's like the work you do now pays later. And that's
Yeah.
real. That's real because it's like when there's layers of people and team and stuff and ad spend that goes in now and then converts 14 and 3 months and whatever later, like you feel it later or you see it later. And I have stripe charts that can show it of like seasons where we were just in it, just building, 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 and then we were like not doing anything, and it was like the biggest months ever. And not doing anything is a overstatement, but like very true. Where you build up this thing, or you ramp a ton of sales reps, and you're on 12 hours a day talking to sales reps all day, like back in the day, and then now they're like self-sustaining, and you can kind of like sit back a little, and they're just cranking, and you're like, oh, so there's definitely a season of that that's happened that I will see and feel ideally reap those benefits in a lot of ways. Financially, sure. Relationally, sure. Like there's team will get paid well. It'll be good. So
And what's the most important thing to you? Is it making money? Is it fulfilling purpose?
yeah, I mean numbers on a screen are fun as shit. I'm not gonna lie. I love seeing a good big number, but like we're on pace for we already crushed through our record month this month right now. It's the 25th of July, and we have broke like it was over a week ago that we cracked through our top month ever, like all time. And like I don't want to say like I don't feel anything because that's maybe the wrong thing, but like yeah, cool. Like let's like celebrate the win. Yeah, guys, cool. But like let's get back to it. Like I'm not as oh what am I gonna buy next? Like I have my couple things I know that like I want to live my lifestyle like XYZ and like that'll continue to stack and it would be nice to have this and like but it really does come down to like the almost like security level. For a long time I was making a bunch and spending a bunch and kind of being an idiot in like a lot of ways of life, like how I was living life, how I was spending, how I was whatever, and like I didn't care because like I was just I'll just make more, which has proven to be true actually, but like it was just irresponsible and just silly because if something actually did super negatively happen, like it was just silly, plain and simple, and like the motivations around it were just wrong and like ego-y and trying to like be XYZ when it didn't need to happen like that. So now for me, it's a lot more around like kind of what I talked about for the first chunk of this, which is all about like the skill stacking, the character development. Like, you know, you're a player in a video game. Like, how do you just continue to scale and skill stack and step up in life? And how can I make it so it's completely normal for me to have a team of 500 people? And that's just like how we operate. And what do you mean? And like, I want to create, like, I just want to like elevate my new standard to where it's like, yeah, that's normal. Or like, I have this hilarious like little meme, and it's like some guy in an interview, and he's like, "Yeah, you got to start with having like a small monetary goal, like make 100 million, and then it's like go from there." And it's like, you know what I mean, like even speak for them to like do these things, and like by no means am I there, but like it's just like that idea that big things are normal. The develop the skill I have, the weight within XYZ, whatever, the capital I have to deploy into things, like it's just normal to play at like a larger scale. Like that's where I want to continue to develop into. That I have the skill, I have the access to capital, I have the access to team, I have the access to resources, whatever. I have the internal skill set. I'm in the markets that can do it. I stay on like it's just this constant like game is really what's kind of like driving me towards it. There are some like checkbox achievements like I was joking the other day and on X about something. I was like, yeah, I don't like because I don't post about anything like material like ever. For a while in life, that would have been like the most important thing to me, so people would think I'm cool and like I could do this and like that's just so not. And I'm kind of glad that I lived that life at some level. I hate it honestly, but like I'm glad I did it because now I'm here and I see like that's not important to me. But I do know that I do not like nice things. It's not like I like the luxuries of life. I do enjoy. I'm in my house 7 or 98% of the time. I go to the gym and I go to dinner out because I don't like to cook, and like that's it. So like I want to go to nice restaurants and I want to like live somewhere and have a really nice like workspace and like home environment. I like to go quickly to the gym, so I like like a fast car. You know what I mean? Like I like that kind of stuff. Like it's fun to me a little bit, but like I like a nice watch because I like to go somewhere and like have like it's kind of a status-ish symbol. Like when you're in the room, certain rooms of like other business people, kind of. But even that's kind of like I feel a little back and forth. I do enjoy them. I think they're cool. But like that's kind of it. Like that's I don't really have like these crazy. I think about like oh a second house or like oh a lake thing or oh whatever, and it's like oh then all my family and friends could come to it and we could all hang out. Or like oh then I could get this annual trip that everyone goes on and like I wouldn't even think twice about it and can get everyone there and like do that and like I think of stuff like that a little bit more now than I do like oh then I would have this and like oh then I would be cool because I did that. Like I don't think of it as much like that. So that was kind of a roundabout answer, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's not super motivating to me. It's motivating to me to have the freedom. It's motivating for me to have the access. It's motivating for me to like not think about it and just like it be normal. It's motivating for me to like have the skill set and stack and like the internal confidence and like knowing for self, not even knowing external, but like knowing for self that like at some level I have my own version of like my Midas touch that like I know that if I go and actually deploy myself into something, I can make it work or like I can build it. Like I like having that loop of confidence in self and skill stack that I can do that is kind of my goal, my progression.
Is there like a specific way that you develop that knowledge of self, or is it just something that happens over time?
I probably the wrong person to ask that. Like again, I'm in development. I am completely in development. Like I'm trying and trying to figure that out. For me, it came down to I heard this from someone and I like tried it with like with myself and I think it rings true, but it's like I needed to go back to like having like I kind of got down into the like dumps of all of this and like the business wasn't in a good spot and I wasn't in a good spot and like all this stuff and it's like you almost like don't trust yourself to be able to like fulfill on something or like oh you're gonna set a goal and like it just seemed like you didn't even have the confidence that you'd be able to hit it or like any wherewithal on how and like it got to that point. So I flipped it on its head more so to be like what are the little absolutely micro things that I can win at and then begin to like restack this essentially from zero or like negative. So it's like get up every day at 5 in the morning. Okay, cool. Like can I do that and like prove to myself I can do that and it's like okay do that. It's like go to the gym every day. I can do that and like do this and like just get a cadence of just like saying you're going to do something and do it, saying you're going to do something and do it just yourself. Like you want to go the next layer and do it publicly, higher risk, higher reward, I guess. But like, because if you don't do it, like then you have your own shame of self and you have your own shame of public or whatever. Like I say on there, I'm like, I want to build this thing to 100 million a year plus. Like I didn't give a timeline, I didn't give a whatever. Like that is the direction I'm moving towards. It's kind of like a little like on the line because like as embarrassing if I like go in the direction and like we just fail miserably. Like yeah, but I also like have stacked this over time now to where like I do think we can do that. Did I say next year? Did I say 5 years? No, I didn't say anything. I just said I'm moving in this direction and trying to learn there. But the little wins were very helpful for me, very helpful to like stack on top of each other. And I was thinking about that the other day because I like reset some goals and I'm like, ooh, like I missed these completely, or like I didn't even put them in front of my face. And I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I don't like that I said I was going to do this and I just blatantly didn't do it. Like a simple one was like, oh, I'm going to run X amount of time or whatever. I like just didn't do that. I still lifted. I still did all the stuff with YouTube. I did 120 days in a row. I said I would do that. Like I did all these things I said I was going to do, but because I put this other thing on there and I didn't even like attempt it or like made excuses, I didn't like that at all. So I'm like kind of more intentional about that now. 'Cause I don't like feeling like that. I don't like feeling like same way that if someone paid me 50 grand for consulting, like I wouldn't be able to sleep at night until they're at like half a million bucks because I just like have that like I don't know, like conscious tie to that. And it's a limiting belief for sure because like I accomplished about these other things or I did give the person the value, they didn't implement it. Like there's a lot of ways to look at it. But for me, it's just kind of like important to me at this point that I am like me and me are cool and me are building in the right direction. And that then I'm surrounded by other like quality people that have good intent and stuff like that towards these goals. And like, cause you're doing all this stuff with people over time. you have a team that is doing everything. Like you have a team that is doing this. You have family, you have friends that are part of your life. You have partner that's part of your. You have all the things, right? Like it's important to have both. So yeah.
100%. And how important is setting hard goals for yourself? Do you like consciously think about that? Like saying, I want to do it because it's the hardest? Because for me, like that's what I want to do. And I know that we're still super, super early, like in what we're doing. But I always tell myself, like, we're going to build hard goals. Like, even with the 100-day videos, because I was like, bro, like, you inspired me. And shout out to you for that, bro. Like, inspiring me to say, hey, let me just do 30 days like you did. And then I was like, no, 30 days, who remembers the guy that does 30 days? Let's kick it up to 100.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to go for 90 and then I just like accidentally did 91 and 2 and I was like, well, I got to go to like another round number and I blew through. Yeah, it was bad. But well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Again, I don't know. I feel so funky doing these cuz like I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this either, but like for setting hard goals, I've had a like I live like a perfectly fine life. Like in a lot of ways. And I view that already. So sometimes I even struggle like I'll struggle with being like I just want more of that one thing. Or like, oh, like a nicer this. Or like, oh, I have a great car. Cool. I want like a nicer car. Oh, I have a cool like apartment. I want a nicer apartment or condo. Or like, oh, I want this. And it's like, for what kind of sometimes? So I've kind of had that's kind of where I came back to with like the whole skill set and progression thing is like that's a little bit you could say it's harder to materialize or like know that you hit it or didn't. So that's where you kind of have to put some like numbers to it or like outputs of the business or outputs of XYZ or accomplishment in like a running time or a lifting number. Like you have to kind of do that or you have to base it on the habit. You have to base it on like I went to the gym every day for 30 minutes or I did this. So there are much bigger ones. It's like, oh, do an Ironman in the next 6 months. Like that's crazy. Like that's a larger goal, and like I'm not ready to sign up for that. But like that's a hard goal. There's a ton of things in like time based that like I know a lot of guys that do a lot of philanthropic stuff that'll be like, oh, instead of working on my business 12 hours a day, I'm going to work on philanthropic or like create this engine that I spent all this time building and now spews off cash for philanthropic reasons for the next X amount. Like there are much harder goals in life and there are much harder goals in personal life and families and kids and things and exploration that like I haven't even touched. So like thus far might have been like, let's grow the business more and like, let's do more about my personal health and like, let's spend some more time doing this or set up some cool family stuff where I do this. Like I'll put on there like I want to, because I didn't used to live near family for a long time. I'd be like, oh, like quarterly trips that I do this, or like a monthly cadence where I'm doing X, Y, Z, and I would do those. Um, but that's not like crazy, right? Like those aren't like hard. Those aren't. They're just out of the norm for my norm. So that's kind of what they've become. But I definitely need to do a better job of like thinking bigger, and I think that comes with being around. Like depends on what you consume. It depends on what you're in proximity with, because you can be the biggest baller in whatever number you want to look at, whether it's a financial number, whether it's a physical number, whatever, in like any room you're in, depending on the room, or you can be the smallest in the room. And I think I, for a long time, have kind of done a bad job of like being in the right room. So now I think I'm in a lot of the right rooms in the sense of like I learn things from people. I think I can provide value to people. We do that, but I'm not in the right room where I'm like the smallest fish in terms of whatever thing. Like I heard someone talk about it, it's like, oh, you could be, you could be a beginner in this, but like an expert in this. So it's like if I went into a room of like tennis people right now, I'd be like the least, you know, capable in the room because I don't know that. And it's like I'm the small fish, and it's cool because you can like learn all these things from all these people in that domain. But all I do is hang out with like the business and work. So I need to do a better job. Back to the first or second thing I said, which is like getting in the right rooms with some cool people that I can learn a lot from, and just kind of like go back to sponge mode because I was a sponge for 8 years, 10 years. And then I just spent the last few months just not shutting up and just talking nonstop, including this here. And it's almost like time to kind of like phase back a little, like pendulum swing back into like consumption and being in the right rooms, setting new goals, seeing what's possible, thinking bigger based on what I see. I just model everything. So like I need to see what someone else has done. I don't like create some new like Apple out of nowhere or like whatever. Like that's not how I do that. I've never done that.
Interesting. Interesting. You want to know what's so funny, bro?
Yes, I would love to.
Bro, I've not even started with any of the questions I've prepared.
Let's hit them.
Cool. So I have one question, basically talking about mental models. So basically, what mental model did you outgrow the fastest on your way to 30 mil plus, and how did that mental model hold you back before?
I don't have any specific of those ironed out. I think like
Mhm,
that. I just don't think I have words for them or
mhm,
like structure around them. Like I don't have like, oh, I always think in this way. Like
mhm,
co-founder and main co is always like, oh, first principles is like his core one, which is like, like he loves it and it makes sense a lot of the time when he uses it. So like fair enough.
mhm,
But like I don't know that I have any that are like very specifically defined.
mhm,
Um, Changes specific from 0 to 30 was the big jumps were the 100K a month to a million a month and the million to 3 million a month. And then the biggest cliche, but has been we basically went back to 1.5 and we're stuck like sitting at 1.5 until we broke through, then went to 3, and then this month we're pacing 5, or more than 5 actually. But like the biggest jump from the most recent one has been the actual talent of team.
mhm,
So the leaders themselves, so putting in proper actual leaders. The one before that, from 1 to 3 million, was the model. So it was like the economics was the biggest difference, which is also funny because that's what we broke and like margin took a huge dive and all that because we didn't understand them. But we understood the one big enough to know that if we sold something higher ticket on the phone and did the same amount of volume and with a slightly lower conversion rate, the math would be this, and it worked, and we 3x and went from 10 million to 30 million in that made every mistake in the world, so like broke that. But like that was a big structure. And then same thing with the 100K to a month to a million a month. It was the model. It was going from it was both an offer that we were changing and the model of acquisition that changed. And now into this new season, it's all about like how we're doing the monetization model. So still on a constant journey to decrease acquisition costs, but really focusing on LTV, really focusing on LTV. So kind of my shifts in my mindset around that have like really changed. And I'm sure in 3 months or whatever, it'll be different, but it's a big math equation. It's a big math equation, and I just wasn't even aware of that for a long time. Made a lot of stupid or I just wasn't even involved in decisions. Honestly, there's a bit of that, and it's not that I wasn't involved in the decision. That's probably the wrong way to say it. Like I want to take responsibility for it, but I wasn't at like the helm of it necessarily as I am now.
mhm,
And like I could just kind of like give my input or not, and it just like would happen or not in the business because again, I'm co-owner. I was not co-founder. I was not necessarily leading this portion of it during certain times. I was always involved at like an operational kind of strategic level, but like at some level I wasn't necessarily always making decisions or didn't try to because I was kind of like bouncing around and like only working on this X amount of time and then the rest of the time I was working on random other shit or just being an idiot and like traveling or partying or doing whatever. And now being like full in it, I more so can take responsibility for that. I can take responsibility across the whole time, but more so I have more ownership of it, I guess is a better
mhm.
way to say it.
Interesting. And what's harder, like specifically for your business model? Is it acquisition or retention?
Retention.
Why?
I was to pick one. Because so like we've always done a really good job of fulfilling on contracts. So like client
Mhm,
wins channel just fires off. We just didn't have the model and like it's constantly a funnel. It's constantly there's constantly an offer. There's constantly a version of a sales cycle, even if it's retention. There's constantly a fulfillment period, and then there's periods that are baked with sales. Like there's all these different like layers of this, and we're always just like, how do we get them for the hamster wheel of how do we get them for the cheapest cost? Which when it isn't the cheapest cost, the entire company bleeds because it's the biggest lever.
mhm,
Then you acquire them, and then let's just go acquire more and fix the front, and you're playing this whole game while money is just literally like clients and money and whatever are just bleeding out the back end, like major leaky bucket, and you don't know. So that was just never something we focused on up until about 6 months ago when we started to take it seriously and build that out. But when you have something that's annualized, it's like you almost
mhm,
wait a year to see to reap it, right? Because someone comes in under XYZ condition or someone's 6 months into a program and like you haven't framed them in XYZ way, activation points haven't been hit in XYZ way. Or already passed more so. So you kind of like miss the opportunity. So you can do the best you can to try and keep them, renew them, simple things like pay plans that people agreed to or that we signed using don't make sense for retention. Like we had a bunch of dumb stuff around that. We had no other offerings, we had no other services, we had no other partnerships, we had no other ways to make money other than more of the same, which was very silly. Um, just a bunch of that. So now my focus is like we have a really strong CMO, we have a really strong CSO, so like marketing, sales, that bucket of acquisition.
Mhm.
I guess I will give input. Yes, we're in those conversations. Those guys are rock stars though. Like they're rock stars, and they are going to do they're going to accomplish what they're set out to do, and we will like help steer, but like they can do it. Now I'm going to go over into fulfillment, retention, renewal, additional offer, like different stuff over there. That's where I'm going to make like majority of my focus from now.
Interesting. And in terms of like what was it called? The activation points, do you track those metrics at all or not?
Yeah, yeah, and we didn't for a long time. Like I don't have a lot of
Mhm.
numbers around operations in terms of a lot of that due to
Mhm.
that because we didn't have our eyes on it. We didn't care. It didn't matter. It was just like let's focus on this, and then
Mhm.
also have like a really good product so that
Mhm.
people stay. But like it's not that important to us, which was crazy looking back. Like I'm talking like I'm talking like five figures of clients. Like
Mhm.
that just wasn't a focus. Like literally
Mhm.
10,000 clients, more than that. That we just it was like, "Oh, cool, we sold them on the thing, let's fulfill on the thing,
Mhm.
amazing." But like why sell them something else? Like let's get more customers. Like it's so
Mhm.
crazy to think about like just where our frame was or my frame or whatever.
Mhm.
Like um so now yeah, now we'll see. Now we'll see. I think there's a lot of ways to fulfill on things in a way and have offerings that enhance that make the experience even better. There are
Mhm.
plenty of things that like our customer are also buys that we could offer. There are other things in that realm that are going to be very large for us. That now it's just making sure we're really big on brand and quality, so it's very important to us that we hold the line on that. So
Right.
that's why we launch things slower. That's why we do things in that way, is because we want to make sure the brand and quality is there. So yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. And what were the early signs like in terms of your in infrastructure or systems that told you there was a major failure that was imminent? Sorry, my bad.
No, you're
During
good.
your fastest growth month, basically.
During the fastest growth, what showed us that the back was broken?
Yeah,
Is that
like
okay? Yeah.
was it
So again, so that's
automation?
like still happening. So even I didn't full answer that when you said the last time. So like we don't
Hmm.
have a lot of the data around that existed
Hmm.
because I basically let up all the data and I wasn't focused on it and didn't know that it was a thing or like care about it. So now
Hmm.
implementing like custom data lake. We're moving fulfillment softwares. We're like changing all these things so we get way more active like activity metrics and trackers and counts and like basically client databases that we can have green flags and red flags and activation points and feedback. Like we're having all of those built out right, like actually like actively as we talk, in order to find those. Because we'll do these big like renewal specials where instead of evergreen renewals on their renewal, we'll do like these batched ones, and we will do size, which is amazing, which just goes to show that it's a good product, right? If you have hundreds of people that are re-signing for another year of service essentially, they clearly love the product and they just see it as a
Hmm.
special. So it's like, okay, cool, win. We're winning that. We're doing good in that. But
Hmm.
when you have a bad month on the front,
Hmm.
that's probably the biggest. So like that was honestly a bit of what was the highlight of like when this really came front of mind is like front
Hmm.
end was not doing good. We had to change so many things and how we had ad account structured and had the different funnel types. And I talk about that a lot on my channel or whatever, like going through the different structures and funnels and acquisition methods and using them all together and sales and all that stuff. Like when that wasn't good, I was like, wait a minute, like can we just get more from this side? Like, can we just like, is there a way to like how many do we even renew? And we like don't know. And it's like, oh wow. And like my brain was so over here that I didn't even think about this side, which is crazy looking back. But like it's real. Like we didn't think about it like that. We knew that we got some percentage. We kind of talked about it a little. We never had super accurate data, but it was rough. We would have these big specials and we would make a bunch of cash in those periods that showed they liked the product, and we would have an influx and just average it across the year and be like, oh, but by no means was it optimized or built to be. We didn't have a dedicated team. We had it in like the fulfillment's hands, which like they're there to fulfill, not to sell. And like they do a fantastic job at fulfillment, but they're not supposed to be selling. That's the whole point, right? It's like so we had it all wrong, and I bet we still have it 80% wrong, but we're moving in the right direction. So like trying to solve for that. So that was the biggest point. The inflection point was when it was so bad on the front that I actually like literally had to look at the back and then was like, oh, yeah.
But I mean, it didn't stop you from scaling, though.
Yeah, it did.
It did?
In a good, in a clean way, it did. We dirty bulked.
Why
We
do you
dirty
say that?
bulked because our acquisition was climbing while we were continuing to scale with
Oh,
no
so
proper math, with no proper LTV math. We were
okay.
foolish about it, and
Mhm.
yeah, we hammered it. And then we got so big that we just wanted to keep calendars full, and the costs were going up, and we didn't care to keep calendars full instead of just cutting half the team or like doing XYZ on the sales and acquisition side, for example. Like if we would have leaned it out, we didn't know proper metrics around sales stuff and thought it was okay that we were at XYZ close rates and show rates and whatever, and like we weren't plugged into the industry. Another thing around network, I didn't know, I didn't have anyone to talk to, or I didn't seek it out. This is by no means like a woe is me. This is like I was an idiot. Like I didn't know to look that out. I wasn't taking responsibility for it. So yeah, once I started to take responsibility, started to take ownership around it, started to look at some of these pieces, started to identify like, oh wait, this is this. Have other leader shifts, have team shifts, have like fundamental marketing shifts, and see the different math and think like I'm like, oh, like I couldn't have said it more times. Like I was like, got it. So there's still a bunch of them that need to change and that are changing over time. But yeah, it was very apparent to me that we made some vital mistakes that I'm sure you could try and find in some book or some video or something somewhere, but we just felt it. We did it real time and learned from our own mistakes, which is the worst way to learn.
And do you document it? Like whatever mistakes you make, do you document it? Not at
I mean,
all?
I talk about them all the time on YouTube. I mean, like I'll talk about them here. I'll talk about anything. Like I don't care. I just at that time wasn't.
Mhm.
No, I literally made my first thing 4 months ago or whatever it was now, and made a video a day and talked about how we run things. And the whole thing on my channel was this is what didn't work, this is what does work, and this is what we're trying basically right now. And that's all everything I've shared has been. And like if anyone asks, I'm happy to share what didn't work. I'm happy to share what has worked or continued. Like we rammed 70 million through one funnel. Like we did that. Like it works. A VSL opt-in funnel works. Did we hit it too hard to the level that it was scaled too high instead of having multiple acquisition models? And that when one broke, we were stuck with it on the table because it we didn't have anything backed up? Yeah. Are there other very large companies in the space right now that just had that same issue and now are very small because they had one core thing and didn't have any backups? Yeah. So like we got through it, but it was very foolish to do. And we also were scaling into it and not optimizing it enough to keep the costs low. So we were being silly financially because we were willing to accept a lower or a higher cost per acquisition in order to XYZ while also not focusing on the back and knowing that we could make that back in two, three, four fold on the back.
Just
So
by
it's like,
keeping?
just by more retention, because your
Mhm.
retention at that point is generally just fulfillment costs. So it's like let's say you
Mhm.
sell a $10,000 thing on the front end, you sell something for $10,000, and you pay your sales rep, you pay marketing, you pay fulfillment, you pay like all the things, right? So you like triple stack. You have your whole acquisition thing and fulfillment. On the back, you've already acquired them, so you don't have to pay a sales rep, you don't have to pay ads, you don't have to pay whatever. All you have to do is fulfill on it. So like quick math, it's 40% on the front and it's 80% on the back. So it's like you keep double the amount of money when you renew someone, assuming it's the same price. So we were not focused on that. Now we're very focused on that. Now we're very focused on having other things as well, because the same thing again isn't necessarily the perfect fit for somebody. So like, how do we operationalize what we have so that it makes sense to fulfill on, and the cost effective to fulfill on, and it offers value to a client in continuation from maybe the main thing.
100%. 100%. And just a question that I had as well. So, I mean, you get a lot of questions. I mean, from the daily, was it Saturday or Sunday that you were ripping them on? The
Q and
questions in
A's.
the, yeah, the
Random,
Q&A.
random. Sometimes I didn't know what to talk about. It was on a Friday. Sometimes it was on a Sunday, like post church. Sometimes it was like 9 p.m. on a Sunday after like a family thing, and I was sitting here like, oh, I forgot to do a video. So it was very random.
Okay, good, good. Of all those questions that you got from those Q&As, what is the one question that you wish someone asked you in all of those?
That's a very difficult question.
Putting you on the spot, man. I'm putting you on the spot.
What do I wish somebody asked?
Yeah.
I always make the joke. I'm like, everyone's always like, "Oh, Ryan, what funnel do I run?" Never, Ryan, how are you? No, but no, like I think it was more around. Like I like to be challenged. I like when people are nice. Here, let's start here. I like when people are nice. I'm bad at the like I'm not I want to say I'm bad at conflict by any means, but like I think sometimes it's just like out of pocket or it's just like for what? Like I don't understand it. I don't like there's a lot of polarizing and this and shit posts and whatever and like I don't prescribe like I don't know. I just kind of like live life a little differently than that. So first off, I like when people are nice, which 99% of people have been. Second off, I like the challenging questions. I like the challenging problems to solve. I like the thinking in a way that I haven't thought before. So when someone asks a question that's like provoking my brain in like a new way or like a unique way or introduces something I really liked the context ones that people would give. It'd be like, oh, I'm running this business, we've been doing this, and there was only a couple of them that were like, oh wow, like I was like, oh, that's super interesting. Or when people ask me like how I would do this, I don't love the super beginner questions because I don't have a lot of experience in that other than what I did one time. Like I haven't helped beginners and I haven't been like a beginner other than like directly once in this industry. um so I like the ones that are like, hey, here's our business, here's how we're running it. We're doing 300 grand a month in profit, and we're just trying to figure out how to unlock this and this. And like, I want to go deeper on that. On like, how are you guys doing that? And what's this? And I hear someone's doing this weird shit, like kind of more tactical stuff usually. I like those. And then what directly I wish someone asked is probably more like, I wish there would have been somebody who, and this is on me as well, but like would have kind of come to me with like a plan or a way that like they could support this or I could like I didn't end up getting anybody I worked with directly out of this directly.
Really?
Like I did like make posts and then get find people for hires and stuff like that, so it worked in that way. But like sometimes I hear about people like a Gary Vee or someone that like someone found and like I'm like this big. I'm literally a minnow of these sharks. So like not to compare myself to that by any means, but like I've heard of people who I got a ton of like inbound like, "Oh, let me edit your this or that or whatever." And I had like two people that came and were like, here's a fully edited or here's like 12 different thumbnails that are cool, and like that's cool to me. And like I wish maybe that somebody would have been a little more like, I got so many like, oh, can I have an hour of your time or can I do this or that, and like that's not valuable, and like I didn't understand where and like how, like I'm happy to help, but like I just understand, like back to my initial thing of like if someone asked me a couple questions, I think it just would have been like a cool story and would have been cool if somebody would have like provided XYZ, like something that stuck out to me, which is 100% also me, like my view of it. Um, so I take responsibility there, but like it would have been cool to like find someone that then was like, I don't want to say like a mini me, but like someone I could like work side by side and like train up or like work and like we could do things in tandem. I know Sean Perry, for example, in My First Million, he's got Ben that he works with like on the side on all these things. And like he's the other side of his brain in a lot of ways and like is a connector and like not, again, this isn't like a he's under him or whatever, like they just co-work. And I thought it would have been cool to like find someone like that who would have like asked some question or had some unique thing that like came to me with like a fully fledged XYZ model, and like I just plug in and we work side by side. I didn't directly find that, and that's probably on me too because I probably didn't, back to my communication management of all the messages and things.
Interesting, interesting. Do you want to hear, or can I ask you for
Yeah,
some tips that you may
yeah.
have? So I'm not sure if you're familiar with what exactly we do.
I did. I watched a couple of your videos. I looked at your ex. So yes, I have some context, but I would probably like to hear it from you direct.
100%. So you can bash me if you want. Like I'm down to
When
hear,
have I
bro. Like
bashed somebody ever, by the way?
I don't know, bro, but you can bash me because feedback is gonna be one of the most important things, right? So what we are building, right, or the main vision, I'm kind of giving it away because like I don't really care because
Yeah.
you can
Execution.
copy
It's all
what
about execution.
100%, bro. You can copy what we're doing, but you can't copy the execution. So exactly what we're planning to do, or the vision that I have, is Chaos Killer OS, where we basically operate like a backend layer to basically own the operational layer of the business, basically to say, hey, we're going to build this, back end system that's going to plug and play within your business. And we're basically going to take all the data, the key metrics, your churn rates, your LTV, all those things, plug it into this ops intelligence brain. Then from that, we're basically going to use it and train it up to basically predict, hey, when is your cash flow going to run out? How long with the specific structure, like how much you're bringing in the next 5, 10 years, how is the business going to look like? So it basically becomes this ops brain that tells you, hey, this is what you need to do, and also gives you actionables. Say, for example, last month, you're basically like 20% below KPI. It basically then looks at all the data. What did you do different last month? And then basically analyzes and then creates actionables to say, hey, you need to do XYZ because that's what you did last month or the last 2 months, and then it basically gives you a roadmap to take actions in terms of the business. So basically, an overall ops brain, if you will.
Yeah. Who's the ICP?
The ICP
Yeah. Who's like the
is
target audience?
100%. It's wedding businesses
Wedding
because
businesses. Do it
yeah,
for wedding businesses.
100%. We're currently doing it for wedding businesses. So we're building out right now. The main idea through it is to just take the hit right now to not really focus on cash flow because we want to perfect the product. Just basically just hit the nail in the wall. Just basically just understand each and everything that we need to understand because I don't want to build it and then say, hey, like we don't know what we're doing, but we want to just build MVPs and then scale it up from there. So right now, it's basically wedding businesses, and then we're going to scale it into basically something that I like, which is the airline business. So that's the ultimate goal.
Interesting. What kind of airlines?
Basically like jet charter businesses,
Okay.
private charter
Yeah, I
businesses.
mean, yeah, like it sounds like a very like an I assume it's some layer AI, but like a smart version of like because we'll get cash flow management sheets, we'll do like models based on that. So like like a 13-week
Mhm,
forecast, and like if you change this or if this happened, then this would happen. Like we model all that kind of stuff on our own. But if you had it, because like I'm thinking in the info coaching brain, but if it was like, okay, cool, here's a year of data, and then here's context around it, which is important, or we were selling at this price, or here's what our close rates were, or here's what this and this. And I've seen somebody create like calculators for this before. It wasn't necessarily like a brain in terms of being able to like have a conversation with it, but it would be like, oh, if you guys just changed your close rate by 10%, or if you changed your offer pricing and got your take rate to this, or like this and this, or if you got your average cash up front versus through pay plans to this, like here's how it would change. And those are super cool. We just build them ourselves more or less, like just in sheets. They're not smart. They're not, communication context driven. But because we have the context, we're able to like build the different models. But no, I think that'd be super helpful as long as it's super refined around a specific business that you like understand, because like the wedding business is different than the info coaching business is different than an airline,
mhm,
right? But like if you have all the
mhm,
pieces and parts and it's trained on it, like it makes sense. I don't know how big it gets or how big the markets are. Like I assume
mhm.
weddings are large. I assume airlines are large. Um,
100.
but yeah, like I think that's a cool idea. I mean, cool model. It's a very smart contextual spreadsheet, right? Like it's a very smart, educated, infer style version. So
Yeah.
kind of out of my lane a little bit, but
Bro, and to be honest, like we're just gonna hit the nail on the wall, bro. Like I don't know
yeah,
if it's gonna work, but the most important thing is it'll be a cool story to tell that when we do pull it off. You know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. I like it. I like it. Well, keep me up to date on that for sure. You got to message me on X and we'll go back and forth on it. I want to see hear the updates.
100%, 100%. Two
Two
more
more. Let's rip them.
questions. Cool. Who's building something right now that you think no one's paying enough attention to?
Mm. I just hung out with Adam Young from Ringba. I think that's extremely cool. But people are paying attention to that. They're the largest probably in our like world of it. There's bigger ones that are more like enterprise grade, but they build cool stuff. He's a sharp dude, a very sharp dude. I think there are a couple of who else is building something. There are larger guys in our world and space that are quieter, louder, just because of how much they spend, and everyone knows who they are kind of through that and like word through. Um, I think that is a I don't want to dox their name and stuff, but there are guys that are doing 12, 15 million a month in info coaching with this and this and have like just more volume of the same business model and they're crushing. I don't really know where that shakes out or ends, but like you can learn a lot from people that are just purely doing more volume because at some level it gets harder in team management, it gets harder in spend, it gets harder in a lot of ways when you get up to there. Like the percents really matter, and it seems like they're doing a really good job of that. So that is interesting to me. Um, I think a lot of these guys that are doing the AI rappers and stuff like are just smart and kind of right techie enough and like these things that it's there's going to be a lot of, I think there's going to be a lot of good business guys that come out of that same way that a lot of like Fortnite streamers or whatever got into meme coins and freaking crushed it. Like it's a type of person more so than it is what business model they're in. So like right now they're doing that. And like I listened to the podcast and that Cal AI kid, like again, they got eyes on them like crazy. So maybe that's a bad example, but like people like that win. It's like the person, right? It's like you're betting on the horse, like on the jockey, not the horse type vibe. And like, so I like that model. I think that makes a lot of sense to find these people who are doing whatever the hot up and coming thing. I think Luca Nets with what he's building, he's gotten shit and he's gotten a ton of praise and back and forth, but he's got Pudgy Penguins, he's got Abstract, he's got that. He should be on mine next week. He's busy as shit right now with everything that's going on, so maybe not, but he's a cool builder and he's always built great stuff and he's super brand oriented, which is a little bit different in that space. And I think because of that, it'll win inside like crypto space. I know some other big builders that are crushing and cool. There's a lot of cool guys that stand out on X that are just really good at their domain. So it doesn't necessarily mean more team, doesn't necessarily mean more revenue, but just means that either like longevity in the game is a big one. Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm not answering your question, but Iman, I think, is extremely it's almost like overrated for the world that he lives in of the beginners, but extremely underrated in terms of the business world, like in the what he actually is doing on the back end and what he's part of and the deals he's doing and how he actually operates his business is like bar none. He is like the epitome in that way within our world, but like almost comes off to all these other people as like his mass because he like got out almost out of info like that lane and like into mass market. It's viewed in that way, I think, to a lot of people when it's really not. It's like it's same thing as what I was saying is like if you listen to some of these podcasts and they're like, oh well, he didn't I bought this thing from him and it didn't work for me or whatever, versus like if you hear how he runs his thing and how it makes sense and like I'm all about ethics and morals and ethos and like I'm with it, but like and good customer support and good success for products and all that. But all to say, like, there are things you can learn from some of these guys around how they operate and how they run things and how they ideate and how their teams work and how the model or their acquisition thing that you can learn and like how Iman is like doing that stuff is insanity. He's very smart. So yeah, him and then all the big names I also follow. So I follow the Martells, I follow the all those guys. So
And what are they? Is there a consistent theme or personality trait that they all share that you've seen?
um just relentless progression. Like
Hmm.
let's use the Iman example, like his is documented. He documented his whole thing from him being like trying to learn how to do stuff to having an agency to teaching people about agency to then going from agency to general online business to then personal development to then mass market and like he documented the whole thing on purpose and literally objectively said I was going to do this then this and this and did it. Like right? Like I like the so the progression across that. Dan Martell shares his of how he was this and how he was, the mess up teenager and then scaled into this and then had his own software and then couldn't manage his time and then built multiple and now has like most unlocked freedom and the best monetization models and this massive brand, this massive thing. He did it. Or Mosey did it. Like any of these guys that have, whether they've shared it or not, they have
Hmm.
gone through that progression.
Hmm.
So like someone who like just continues to go and like at bat and just continue to do it and like work on themselves and realize that they need to evolve and change, whether it's skills or viewpoints or perspective or work ethic or back to skills and team structure and whatever. Like anybody who has done that, whether they've publicly shared it or not, is somebody that you generally want to that then underlying is like a good person and underlying is trying to help people and underlying has value and underlying is like sees these things in the world. I think is very common amongst us.
You know who's someone that I know that I could use in it as an example that points out perfectly to what you just said?
Who?
This guy named Ryan Clogg. I don't know if you've heard of him before.
I haven't done anything yet. Just we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Just got to stay on the arc. There was a long time of my life, if I'm being extremely transparent, that this was not the
Mhm,
case. Like
mhm,
I am 28 right now,
mhm,
and I look back and I'm like, oh man, like we didn't get on Instagram because it was for girls, and like back in the day when it came out, and it's like I had other guys I know now in the space that got on Instagram, owned every handle, and owned all the distribution on Instagram and social influencer and this, and made gobs of money and relationships and connections and crushed it at that layer. I know, like I was in the internet marketing thing, and I bought every course, and I didn't lean into one specific one of them, so I didn't make any money in any of them or grow influence or do any of like the successful metrics in any of them other than learn and get context. And I just spent a lot of time like learning, which and not implementing directly, kind of, but not enough to like expert any one thing. And then hit a lick and had something finally work and like life was good and like money was flowing and then instantly just foot off the pedal and just went and was partying and living like this and doing like this and like not the best like person necessarily and not worried about growth anymore and not whatever and thinking I like crushed it and I'm good now and like that's just not the case and I was an even smaller minnow than I am now and I'm still a tiny minnow. Like it was just I just didn't have the skills, I didn't have the income to be like I didn't have any of the things that it made sense to be like doing that except for the fact that like relationally if I like looked around me I wasn't in the right room and like looked around me I was like crushing it and like that was just the wrong perspective I now kind of have on that I didn't live it right. And now I'm like, I go on X and all these kids are 20 or 22 or whatever, and like kind of living like that a little, but like they're just light years ahead of where I was. If you want to like play the comparison game, and at some level, I just like can't play that because it's just like it does not serve me to do that. Because I'm like, wow, I wasted all this time, I wasted all this money, I wasted all this potential, I wasted all this whatever, and now I'm just like, let me just focus on this and like it's me versus me, and like let's do this and just like beat the drum and build into it. So yes, I hope that that is into my future if that happens. And thus far, it's been 6 months or a year or whatever of this directly of where I've even been talking about it or thinking like that. So we will see what happens in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But thus far, I have been lighting it on fire, emotionally, physically, financially, whatever. Where I just like haven't been focused on that. So let's see what happens if I do focus on that because I do respect those guys a lot for those reasons, and it would be cool to at some level play in that ring with them. Not even against
100%.
them, just just up there and there. So
Of course. And you're gonna crush it, bro. I know it. From
we'll
that,
see. We'll see.
I'm
We'll
telling
see.
I'm telling you, bro, like this
Yeah.
is only just the start, bro. I'm telling you. For you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what kind of yeah, skills I can stack and ways I can feel and things I can execute on and teams we can build and influence we can have and all of that. And again, it's like you never hit it. So it's just kind of it's just always now. It's always now.
100%, 100%. I have one more question
Yeah,
if you
go
got the
ahead.
time for it.
Yeah.
One more
I
question.
skipped through my 3 p.m. and I didn't even realize it, so we're just free reign now.
I'm sorry for that,
No,
bro.
no, no,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. I know. You're fine.
Okay. My last question that I have was Chiz. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
If you had 3 months to build something that would shake an entire industry, where would you start? The info space, if it were the info space.
Find a massive problem, likely a pretty like I don't say unknown, but one that is right in front of everyone and just it is the norm and solve for that. So I would find something within info coaching, whether it is as simple as standardized education for it and how everyone runs it. Like the simplest example I thought of was like literally bake everything out, put everything and put all the right people in the right room and do it all for essentially free, but gated in this way to protect XYZ in this way and just like mass launch it to like upgrade the entire industry. If you're thinking in a technical standpoint, it's like, how would you do that through something flashy or something that has the infrastructure like an AI play that could do that. And again, I don't know enough about that kind of stuff, but like there's definitely in any industry like my dad's in snow removal, and like we joke all the time, like the softwares that are crushing it there are stuff that crushed for us 5 years ago, like because it's just like a delayed industry when it comes to a lot of that stuff. So it's like there's land grabs in all of these places. That is some massive problem that has not yet to be solved, or that has become the norm that everyone just thinks that's part of how it's done or how the business how it's played, when it can be solved for through education, through info coaching, through software, through service, through whatever, that I think that
So
someone would be able to solve.
100%. So basically, what you're saying is solve for the bystander effect.
Solve for, yeah. Yeah, solve for, so like in your example, like in weddings, in that industry, what is just like this massive actual problem? And yes, what you're talking about, I'm sure, is like if these guys are going out of business left and right because they don't understand cash flow, or they're not the size they could be because of this, like being the size they could be because of this isn't really that actual painful of a problem. It's like it's a desire, you know what I mean? Like it's something they could achieve, but it's not something. It's not like a risk. So like, what is something that actually like gets them all out of business or doesn't allow them to do X, Y, Z, or some major pain point they all have that you could solve for, truly solve for, that is common practice for them, that now is like, oh wow, this is the new common practice and it's X, Y, Z. And it just makes their life, it reduces this by 80%. It's some 80/20 setup that now it's just like, oh, we all run on this. It's like the mind bot or whatever that thing is called for yoga studios and all of that. It's like everyone ran on antiquated this and different systems and different connection, and everyone needed to use these different tools and whatever. And it's like they came together and were like, here's the playbook, and here are all the things, and here's the education, and here's the support, and here's the full software infrastructure, and boom, and like, you know, not overnight, but over X amount, they are the number one player in that entire space, and everybody is on them. And the industry is now just a norm that if you start one up, it's like I heard someone talk about this one time that was like, if you start up a new restaurant, like, what are the things you're going to do? Or like, what are you going to get on? And it's like, are you going to get a Yelp? Are you going to get an open table? It's like, yes. So it's like they have owned it to where it is now part of the general practice of people who enter that business or that space. So like in info coaching, it's like you need a calendar widget. It's like, see, it's like Go High Level has done an okay, like they own they're everything, which in my mind is also nothing, but like, like it's difficult to run a business like that. I'm sure. I have no idea. I don't build software. I don't do that. But like, you need a calendar, you need a checkout, you need a funnel, you need an application. You need these like core things. So they solve for that in that way. That's like an out of the box, one click, you get this, and you have everything. And like they reduced all that. So that's a good example of someone who did that. So yeah, like infrastructure plays.
Interesting. Interesting. No, that's perfect. I think that would be super valuable to a lot of people watching this, and even into the future. No?
Are we in today's video? Is this today's?
Yes. Yes, this is today's, bro. This is
All right.
today's.
I like it. All you got to
So,
do is just click. You just got to click end. It's got to do its thing. You got to just swap the little video and then you click export and it's done.